Hello, hello. My name is Jacqueline Twillie. This video is for women leaders who work within male-dominated industries, and I'm the president of ZeroGap.co. So we curate leadership experiences for women in male-dominated industries. Today, I want to share with you the importance of understanding how executive presence plays into your leadership strategy and what that has to do with negotiation. Yes, executive presence and negotiation, a huge cornerstone for women leaders, especially within male-dominated industries. But of course, these skills translate to any industry. So to start off with, at ZeroGap, we really focus on curating these leadership experiences that go beyond what you hear the cliche terms. The leaders, they eat last, leaders listen. Yes, they do. But what does that tangibly mean? For women, a lot of times they receive feedback in relation to their leadership that's very broad, non-specific, and doesn't have many action items for them to follow up on. And that leads to a lot of confusion. It leads to women receiving this tongue-tied there, ambiguous advice that is like a dead end of kind of sorts. So a lot of times when we're working with women and we're thinking of how can they enhance their leadership and take it to the next level, we go through and we look at the feedback that they've received. One of the things that we hear a lot is, oh, you need to work on your people skills, or you're a bit brash, or you're not coming off as strong, or you're too quiet. And so in terms of leveraging executive presence to take away some of that ambiguity, what we really find is that we need to be more specific and focusing on executive presence as a catalyst to enhance your leadership profile. So why does this matter? Why should companies in male-dominated industries provide this training to their women employees? Research shows, and there are numerous studies that prove that leadership teams within companies that are diverse perform better financially. They innovate at higher rates than companies who do not have diverse leadership teams. So when we talk about diversity, I don't want you to go to diversity and inclusion space where you're only thinking of one type of diversity, okay? People who are multifaceted, they bring various experiences into the workplace. It's intersectional. So for executive presence, here are a few tips that women can utilize to start to enhance their presence. Yes, physical appearance, people say that you should dress for the position you want, not the position that you have. I've heard that for probably close to 2 decades now. But in addition to that, you have to fit the tone of your industry. So for people who are in industries where there's a more casual workplace, just dress your best in that casual workplace. For people who are in traditional roles where they have to have suits on, then wearing a suit would be appropriate, but just make sure it's your best. You don't have to break the bank in terms of in your appearance. Now, the second part to executive presence that we're going to focus on today is how you speak. And a lot of women get criticized for how they speak. They're either to this or to that. And it's hard to find that middle ground. At the core of it, I love to use personality tests such as the Myers-Briggs or the DISC assessment, where there are no right or wrong answers here. It's just helping you to better understand yourself. Once you understand yourself better and your communication style, you can start to understand others as well, in that you're communicating more effectively. Now, in terms of communicating effectively, my favorite thing to do in terms of enhancing your executive presence and also creating a strong strategy for negotiation is this: listen more than you speak. So I know that can be counterintuitive If you're working on your communication skills, you want to polish how you speak, your body language, your tone of voice, all of those things you should pay attention to. But a lot of times when you're focusing on enhancing your leadership skills, the active listening skill is one of the most underrated skills that we find that leaders have. When you're able to engage in active listening, not only do you hear what others are saying, but you also have the opportunity to hear what isn't being said. So in terms of setting strategy, whether it's negotiation or you're communicating your point to your team members or to your board, what happens is you're able to dig in a little bit deeper and to be more effective in that. You're able to read the room, per se. So the final tip that we're going to cover tonight, and it's a crossover, another tip that fits into enhancing your negotiation skill as well as your executive presence. And it's the ability to ask questions, right? So really think about what you want to say. Think about the information you've already gathered. Also, think about what information you do not have. So be strategic in your questions. The things that you already know, great. You don't have to ask questions on those. Just make sure that you're not basing what you know off of an assumption. It should be based on some type of data or fact, all right? Now, the skilled questions that you ask, you want to be concise. Get straight to the point. And that is also a skill that has to be practiced over and over. Now, the skills that we're talking about enhancing, you're not going to flip a switch and all of a sudden you're going to have these new skills. What happens is over the course of time, you'll begin to audit yourself to increase your self-awareness of how you're currently engaging in these skills. And then from that, you'll be able to create an action plan. So a lot of the trainings that we do at ZeroGap, we go deep on these topics. I gave you 3 high-level points today. But the first step, again, get into that awareness mode. Are you speaking clearly? Are you being concise? What is your appearance? How are you showing up in meetings? When I talk about appearance, one of the things I like to tell people is you may not realize this, but if you're in a meeting and you're doing this, that is part of your appearance. You look distracted and disengaged. So it's not just about the attire. Your facial expressions matter, your body language matters, your engagement with any type of electronic device inside of meetings, whether it's a formal or informal meeting, that really makes a big difference in terms of how you are perceived and how you're showing up. So if you know a woman or a leader in a male-dominated industry, tag them in this video. We're going to continue this series about executive presence and negotiation. We're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about the skills that overlap in each, how that makes you become a more effective leader, and how you can use those skills to help your company become even more effective and to remain competitive in your industry. My name is Jacqueline Twillie, president of ZeroGap.co. Until next time, continue to emulate excellence and eliminate excuses.